Hi there, I'm Misty Purcell. Welcome to the Luminous Fiber Arts Flosstube channel. I'm a cross-stitch designer and I also dye cross-stitch fabric. My website is luminousfiberarts.com. I have a newsletter that you might enjoy signing up for so that you get notifications about when new designs are released, when I have fabric. Sometimes I have a special gift for my newsletter subscribers. So I will link my website below and my newsletter sign up below in case you'd like to check those out. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest as @LuminousFiberArts. So today I'm super excited to talk to you about my new Christmas releases. I really love them and I think that you will too. So we'll start off by talking about my new releases, and then I'll share a little bit of some other projects I've been working on, both like cross-stitch and other hobbies that I have. And then I'll do a little sharing about like what I've been up to in my personal life at the end. So let's start out by talking about the Mousecapades series, which is a 7-part series that I've been releasing throughout this year. And we're finally at the end of it. It's crazy. The time has flown. So let me show you all of the designs in the series and tell you a little bit about it. So I designed all of these to be stitched separately or together. This is Mousecapades 1, Mice on Ice. So you can see that I finished it as an individual pillow, but there's also a complementary border on my website with a layout if you want to stitch all 7 designs together on one piece of fabric and frame it that way. I will link that below in the description box. And I designed it actually with all of them together when I planned the design, just so that I made sure that everything like looked good together and the colors were balanced. So it works really well that way. I'm actually stitching it a second time with all of them together. Slowly I'm doing it, and I'll show you that in a minute. So this is Mice on Ice, Mousecapades 1. This is on the house top. This is Mousecapades 2. And in the layout where they're all together, Mousecapades 1 through 3 are across the top. Mousecapades 7 goes in the middle, and Mousecapades, excuse me, 4 through 6 are across the bottom. So this is Mousecapades 3, a snow mouse, because in the meadow we can build a snow mouse. This is Mousecapades 4, this is Reindeer Games. These are all stitched on 32 count Smoky Pearls Weigart linen. I have that available on my website. I also have a substitute 32 count Lugana. I think it's slate blue, that's available. And I have the Sequoia mini pom-pom trim in case you want to finish them as pillows. I have that available. I also have large floss packs available on my website so that you can stitch the whole series. This is Mousecapades 5, Filling Santa's Bag. So they use a mix of overdyed flosses and DMC. The floss packs contain only the overdyed flosses. This is Mousecapades 6. This is Trimming the Tree. Okay, and now for Mousecapades 7. Ta-da! It had to be Santa Taking Flight. So this is Happy Christmas number 7. And when I designed the series, this was the one that, as I was thinking about what would go in each square, this was the one that intimidated me the most because I don't tend to think that I do houses that well. I wasn't sure I could pull off the scale of it in the village. I just didn't know if I could make it work, which is pretty much like every design I ever do. It's not like I sit down and I'm like, oh, this will be good, I'll make it work. It's like, well, I hope I can do this. So this was really fun to design, and it actually, you know, for my anxiety about how it might go, it really went pretty well and was really fun. I debated about putting Merry Christmas as like stitched across like the top up here in, I think I had done it in back stitches and long stitches, but I decided to leave it off to keep it simpler because I felt like the words were cute, but they took away a little bit from the overall design. Rudolph has a few back stitches for the light coming out of his nose. One other thing that I want to mention on this one is that there are 2 fractional stitches in the top of each of these 2 church windows here. So there's 4 total, 2 here and 2 here. I did that to give it more of an arched shape, but if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. You can just make regular cross stitches there. So don't sweat that. It's not a big deal. So I'm so happy to have all 7 of them out at last. And I'm doing a stitch along that's just going to kind of go on indefinitely. So if you'd like to join the stitch along, it's Mousecapades Sal. You can use that hashtag and you can follow that hashtag to see other people who are stitching. And you don't have to stitch all of them in order to be a part of a stitch along. You can stitch just one, however many you want to stitch. But use that hashtag and that way we can all see what you're working on and cheer you on. So that is Mousecapades 7. That's available on my website. You can also get it from your local needlework shop. And again, I have all the supplies that you would need. For the backing on these, I just used like a nice batik that I thought coordinated with the pom-pom trim. You don't have to use a specific batik, but you might like something that's kind of this green color just so it blends with your poms. And then if you use a green thread, it won't show up very much if you're sewing your poms down. So I think that's all about Mousecapades and Mousecapades 7. Again, I'm just like so excited to have them all out now so that, you know, you can enjoy all of them. And I have to think about how I'm going to display them this Christmas. If I'm going to use the shelf that I had displayed them on at market, or if I'm going to do something else. I have another idea, but we'll see. Okay, so let's move on to Sweet Christmas. And this started out with just one design. I didn't know it was going to be several different designs. I just felt like drawing a cute bear. And that's how this started. I wanted to draw a cute bear and I wanted to put a hat on him. And I think originally I also had a scarf, but then I thought maybe he needed some friends. So I took the scarf off so that someone else could have the scarf. Because eventually how this idea evolved is that I wanted each animal to be wearing something and holding some kind of sweet. So the bear kind of lingered for a while until I realized that this was, you know, my idea for the series or this collection kind of evolved over time. So there's Sweet Christmas 1 and Sweet Christmas 2. Each pattern comes with 3 animal ornaments. So in Sweet Christmas 1, we have this adorable bear. All of them are stitched on 32 count soft sea linen that I dye. And I have kits available that include enough fabric for you to stitch all 6 if you want. It's a fat quarter of fabric, plus the 1 overdyed floss that you'll need to stitch this. Everything else is DMC. So it's 1 skein of Holly Berry from Classic Colorworks, and then everything else is DMC. So these are super cute. Next, I designed, I can't remember if it was the bunny or the kitty. I think it was the kitty. And of course the kitty has to be wearing mittens because, you know, there's so many cats called Mittens, and I don't know, mittens and kittens just go together. So this is probably my favorite of all of them. I love them all, but this was one of my favorites for sure. When I drew him originally, he was pudgier, but then I decided to make them all kind of uniform, so he got a little thinner, but he was so cute, pudgier. So he's holding like a little wrapped, like a wax wrapped candy that's chewy. And he has on the bear, there's a little bit of back stitching and long stitching in the top of the hat there where the pom-pom is. Now some of those fall in between the stitches. So if you're stitching on TaDaa, if you want to stitch it exactly as a chart, you'd need to split your fabric. And if you don't want to, you can easily modify this pom-pom. I mean, this is nothing complicated. You can leave it off. You can stitch it so that it doesn't fall between stitches. Do whatever you would like to do. So he's got the, I think it's Starlight Peppermint. And then the kitty has 4 long stitches for the whiskers. And then this is the bunny. And these are the 3 that are Sweet Christmas 1. And so the bunny is wearing, you know, a hand knit sweater. So all of these, because I'm a knitter, got the hand knit hat, the hand knit mittens, and then we've got the hand knit sweater on the bunny with the candy cane. So, you know, this is what each animal would like to eat at Christmas time. And at the end, there will be a quiz, but it's an easy quiz. So these are the 3 that come with Sweet Christmas 1. Let's talk about Sweet Christmas 2. So Sweet Christmas 2 started with this fox, and foxes prefer lollipops. So if you stitch this, I hope you'll use the hashtag foxes prefer lollipops. And he ended up with the scarf in the end that the bear was going to have originally. I think this is so cute. I really love how this turned out. And then we have the raccoon, and he has a gingerbread man and a little Santa hat. This raccoon was hard. I was working on it, and I sent it to my friend and my boyfriend just to check that it looked like a raccoon. My boyfriend's like, I don't even know what that is. So it's like ego crushing feedback about my work. So I had to tweak him, obviously. I think now he does look like a raccoon. Hopefully no one is confused anymore. Okay, and then we have one more. This one was also a little tricky. I haven't drawn a reindeer facing front before. So I've only drawn reindeer like in profile like this, and I wasn't quite sure how to do it to make it look good and also fit with this theme. But in the end, after a lot of tweaking, I think he turned out really well. And so the reindeer, I ran out of things like articles of knitwear to put on him. I guess I could have given him socks. That would have been cute. There's a couple of things that I wish I'd done a little differently. Like you know, after the fact, I was like, why didn't I make Sweet Christmas 2 all holding cookies and Sweet Christmas 1 all holding candy? But I didn't think of that. And maybe he should have had socks too. If you want to add socks to him, you go right ahead. So he is holding an almond spritz cookie, which is one of my favorite Christmas cookies. When I was a kid, my mom and I would make almond spritz cookies every year with an electric cookie press. It's probably from like the 70s. Those colors, it's very 70s. We would food color it green and make these cookies, and they were so good. I think the recipe is from the Betty Crocker cookbook, but that's one of my favorite Christmas cookies. Just brings back good memories. And I mean, that's one of the things that I love about being a maker and also being a designer is, you know, as a maker, I get to make things and they are meaningful to me, and then I get to display them every year, like these ornaments and things, and it's like, you know, it's like seeing old friends. It brings back good memories of making the thing, and then, you know, the holidays. And then as a designer, I love getting to make things for the holidays that are part of other people's traditions. Like I create a pattern and then it becomes part of your special holiday tradition or some special moment in your life. And that's like one of my favorite things about being a designer and a maker. So I feel very lucky to be able to be a part of that with you. And so the quiz is what sweet or cookie, what treat makes you, if you celebrate Christmas, and if you don't celebrate Christmas and you just want to share, like, is there a food that brings back good memories of some kind of tradition for you? I'm just curious, you know, what would it be for you? For me, it was a toss-up between the Christmas tree cookies and the Italian rainbow cookies. Oh, yeah, both of those for Christmas. That's what I remember and think about in terms of food every year. So if you would like to share, I'd love to hear about your traditions. If there's like a food that just takes you back, it could be a candy. Maybe you got a treat every year or something for a birthday or a holiday. I just think it's neat. So Sweet Christmas 2 and Sweet Christmas 1. There is a tutorial on my channel. I'll link it in the video description box, and at the end of the video, there'll be like a thing that pops up. And so I basically like hang out with you. If you want to hang out with me, I'm hanging out and I'm showing you how I finished these. Now I had only done one, and in the video, I just walk you through my second one. So it's not like I've made 6 of them and I'm super knowledgeable. I've made one and I'm walking you through number 2. It's like, you know, you're going to hang out with a friend and I'm going to walk you through it, but I'm not like the expert and it's not going to go perfectly like the minute I glue something down. And also don't let that discourage you. Like, finishing takes some time and people are intimidated by finishing because they feel like it's hard. But you can also decide at any point that it's good enough and stop. And you're also allowed to decide it's not good enough and tweak it. It's up to you where you want to stop because you decide that, you know, okay, I'm happy with how it looks, or I'm not quite happy with how it looks, but I cannot spend any more time on this. That's fine too. All of it is fine. You want to have a finished ornament for your tree, or I have some finishing alternatives for you, but let me finish talking about the tutorial. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so 1, I will hold your hand through the tutorial. Don't let the finishing freak you out. It is not a big deal. This is not surgery. It's not a big deal. Just finish it and enjoy it. And it might not be perfect. That's okay. There is no perfect. It's just, you're just doing done and good. Okay. So let me tell you a little backstory. It's in the video, but in case you don't watch it, you can see here. So here's an imperfection and it doesn't matter. You know, between the sides and the bottom, the fabric, this line here is closer to the bottom than on the sides. So what happened? I was stitching these. I left enough room. I thought I was making them as mounted tags. So I didn't leave a ton of room between the top row of these and the bottom row of these. And then I got this inspiration to do this rounded top tag. And I barely had enough fabric to do it. So the only way I could make it work was to really short here to have like enough fabric to do the shape, because I didn't leave enough so 1, if you stitch it in like a row of like 3 and 3, leave space at the top to do it this way if you're going to use this template that's included in the pattern. So the pattern has this template. The pattern also has a QR code, so you can just scan it with your mobile device, and you just use the camera option on your phone or your tablet. You scan it and it will take you to the website to watch the video. It'll take you to my website on the tutorial page and you can watch the video there. Anyway, that's what happened with this. Does it matter? No, it looks awesome. It's so cute. And then I also explain how to put these little felted balls on your baker's twine. And I believe I got the baker's twine from Michael's. There's a materials list on the video for like everything you would need. The pom-poms, the felted poms came from an Etsy shop that'll be on the video and it's in the pattern, so there's all kinds of information for you. But I also want to tell you that if you're like, oh man, my tree is full of ornaments, or I don't do ornaments, but you like these, well, I have a couple of alternatives. One is that you could stitch all 6 of them together and display it on like a long skinny board if you wanted to like glue or lace it, or you could frame it that way, and that would be so, so cute. It would just be like one long skinny rectangle of all 6 of them. Or you could do 3 and 3 and have a rectangle like this. And that would be super cute too. And then you could frame that, or you could mount it depending on like what your display options are. I was thinking that if you did the 6 of these guys all across really skinny, that would look really good above the entryway to your kitchen with all these little cookies and sweets and stuff at Christmas. I think that would be adorable. Or in your kitchen going out, like whichever, would be so cute above the doorway. Also really good, that option like on a shelf that isn't very tall, that would fit really nicely. And then the other shape where there's 3 and 3 could fit like a taller shelf. I mean, it just depends on kind of what your space is. So you could think about that, you know, where would this go, and then pick like which layout you'd like if you want to stitch it that way. You could also stitch 2, 2, 2 and have a tall skinny piece that could be like a bell pull or a wall hanging. I mean, there's so many possibilities. You just have to decide like what you are looking for. So just because they're ornaments doesn't mean you have to finish them as ornaments. It's just what I did. So hopefully those options are inspiring for you. And I have the kits available. If I still have them, there'll be kits of Aida, Lugana, and linen. So kits can sell out quickly, but you can check my website and see what's available. The best way to get notified when I have those things is to sign up for my newsletter, because people on the newsletter get that notification first that things are available to them. So if you don't want to miss out on kits and things or when there's new patterns, definitely sign up so that you'll get a notification about that. Okay. I sincerely hope that that's everything and I didn't forget anything. Yeah. So, all right, let's talk about my projects that I've been working on that are personal. We'll go back to Mousecapades. I don't think I was done with this last time, but I don't remember. I don't think I was. It stayed ironed, so probably not. So I've got Mousecapades 1 through 3 finished, so you can see this is how to look if you're stitching the whole thing together. And then I obviously need to do some more stitching, but it's just I'm working on it as there is time. And it's looking so cute together. I can hardly stand it. Yeah, so fun. So I mean, now that Mousecapades 7 is out, I might just stitch 7 next and then keep going down. I'm not sure, but I'm working my way and I'm really enjoying it. So that's that. Coming along slowly but surely. I finished my Pendibule. Well, I finished stitching it. I did not fully finish it. This was tricky to count and I fudged, and then I had to fudge some more because you need this line here for sewing it up, and I was like, it's off all over the place. I did add the beads. This is 32 count soft pumpkin dyed by me, and I used black coffee from Classic Colorworks for the black. I used some black beads in my stash. They looked really good. So I've watched Helen's tutorial, and now I need to watch it again and get it together and finish it. So, but I need some like mental space to do that, and there hasn't been a lot of that lately. So super cute. This is by Durene Jones. I think it's Black Halloween Cat Pendibule, something like that. I'll link that below the video or scroll it or something so that you know. So that's that. So cute. And it's not that there's anything wrong with the pattern. I just couldn't count. It's not Dorene's fault that I can't count. Okay, also, non-cross stitch, I got a couple things to show you. I made this bag. So one of my local grocery stores, Wegmans, stopped doing plastic bags, started doing paper bags, and started charging for them, which is fine. And if the paper bags were like the Trader Joe bags, I would pay 5 cents for them or 10 or whatever, but I wouldn't mind because they're good, but I don't really like the paper bags they're using. And I was like, well, I might as well just make myself some, because I also didn't like the reusable bags. I used to have reusable bags. When COVID hit, then we weren't allowed to use them anymore. And I kind of gave up on ever being able to use them again. Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, so I threw them away. Anyway, I need at least one more bag. I've only made one. And so a couple weeks ago, I decided I was going to make this on a Saturday, and I've made these before. So this is called the Jane Market bag. It's by Posie Gets Cozy. I've probably made upwards of 10 of these and given them as gifts over the years. I only have one, and it was one I received in a swap. So I've never made one for me until now. The one that I received in the swap is beautiful, and I use it to tote my craft projects around. So it doesn't see any groceries or anything really heavy. Anyway, I love the pattern. I decided that I would use it. And I knew that it took a while longer than I thought. Like, I thought I remembered that about it. But I'm like, well, I could probably get like 3 of these done in a day. I got one. And now I had to read the instructions carefully because it'd been like 5 years, but still, okay, even in all crafts, at any point in my life, I just completely cannot calculate how long something will take me. Like, I'm completely inaccurate. But I love the bag. I love the weight of the bag. It does not call for I don't think it calls for any interfacing. I read a little bit. I thought I had interfaced them. I think I probably used Shapeflex 101 because that's usually what I use for bags. But I just was like reading up a couple of notes, and someone was saying that they had seen suggested and had used a heavier fusible interfacing, and that they had added pin tucks to the bottom. So I decided to try that. I had some Pellon, I think it's 809 here, and I used that. And the only thing I would say is, like, I love the texture, then the feel, the weight it gives it, and the sturdiness, the structure. But the manufacturer's instructions for adhering it to the fabric, at least with my iron, and I've got the, like, that Shark iron, I think it is a Shark? The Pat Ryan approved iron, I think is what it is. Anyway, if you've seen that video. So the heating instructions are like, put it on this really low setting and use a pressing cloth. Well, the really low setting does not adhere it. And I ended up having to turn it up, like, I don't know, to maybe the wool setting or higher. It wasn't cotton, I don't think, but you probably could do that. So just so you know, I just used steam. I did use a pressing cloth, and I turned the heat way up, and then that saved me like a million hours of standing there trying to get it to stick and it not sticking. The interior is the same. This comes with a pocket. I don't need a pocket for groceries, so I didn't put it on, but like if I were going to use this as a craft tote instead, then I would put the pocket on, and it would have one on each side. This was some fabric, this black fabric that I bought a while ago thinking it would make a great bag, and I'm so happy that I made it one. It's really a nice fabric. As far as bags go, I'd say this is a pretty straightforward bag design. It might not be the very first bag I would make, but it would probably be the second bag I would make. Maybe I'd pick something a little bit simpler for a first bag. Yeah, so I'm really happy with it. And like I said, I need one or two other ones. I'll let you know how it holds up over time because I'm starting to haul stuff from the store, and it is heavy stuff. So, you know, I when I stitched the handles on, I went around a couple of times to secure them, knowing that that would probably be a point of major stress on the bag. But like I said, I don't know, you know, realistically, can this hold up to real groceries over years? I don't know. I'll let you know. But I really like the bag. And the struggle I'm having is, like, the next one is that I was going to make is using Janine's Latkiss fabric. And if you know her, she's like this amazing artist, and her fabric is like precious to me. But I'm also like, well, what are you saving this for? So I'm probably going to make myself use it, but it's kind of hard to use it for groceries. I might use it and just make it into like a project bag instead so that I can have it but not like ruin it. I don't know. I might have a yard, I'm not sure. So I could spare some. I'm having a hard time with that one. It's so pretty. Her work is amazing. Okay. So my last project is weaving. Okay, so weaving. I showed you a weaving project I was working on, I think, in my last video. I just finished it. And it was a project of experimentation with color and weave, what's called color and weave. So it's plain weave, which is just over, under, over, under, over, under. I'm taking it through Jane Stafford's online school of weaving. This is a project from that. And then you're experimenting with light and dark threads and learning how combining those in the warp and weft on the loom. This is my symbol for warp and weft. Anyway, how light and dark play together and make really neat patterns. So this one is woven in the exact same order that it was threaded on the loom, which is dark, light, dark, light, dark, light in the first corner, and then it varies across the fabric. So this is like dark, light, dark, light, dark, light on the loom, and then woven dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. Hard to say fast. Anyway, you can see you get all these different patterns as you alternate lights and darks in different orders. So cool. I mean, I wish I could show you better each individual one, but basically this is like a sampler. And then you would use this to plan other weaving projects. You'd pick which ones you liked, and you'd repeat that sequence of light and dark to get that patterning. This one I did the opposite, so whatever it was threaded on the loom, dark, light, I would weave it the opposite way, light, dark, light, dark. And so much of it looks the same. Like here it's the same, but then other squares kind of in here, some of them look a little different. And so it was just an experiment that I wanted to try. The cool thing about this project, so it was super hard to wind the yarn for this. I'm getting a little bit better at managing multiple strands at a time. But I had this yarn that I hadn't figured out what to do with. And I was like, well, this is a practice project and I can just try to use it up. I didn't use it up, but actually I ended up liking the yarn color, this darker color. It's a really pretty, kind of like a really dark teal. And it just looked a lot prettier in this than it ever did on the cone. And so now I'm like, oh, well, I'm kind of excited to use that. Then I did this one where I made squares of all dark, all light, all dark, all light. And I just alternated. Except did I make a mistake here? Looks like I made a mistake. Oh man, right there. Well, it's for me anyway. C'est la vie. You don't know when it's on the towel bar like this. Okay, well, man. Then someone commented on my last video when I was discussing how I had more warp to weave. I didn't know what to do with it. That kind commenter suggested I experiment with some twill, which when I thought about it, I was like, yeah, why didn't I think of that? Okay, so I did the same thing as before. Whatever was in this square, I wove it that way, and so on up. But you can see the patterns are really neat. So that turned out super cool. And I love the drape of it and the feel. It's super soft. This is 8-2 cotton by Brassard. And also the dark green is, oh, I actually have 3 different yarns in here. So the kind of like light teal color, that one is Brassard. The light color here is actually a Georgia Yarns natural color yarn that's super soft. And then the dark yarn, the dark teal is Valley Yarns. I don't remember the color. So then I cut everything off the loom and I spread the warp out. You're supposed to spread it to 12 ends per inch. But I didn't have enough room on my loom to do that for the number of threads. So I had to make it like 13.5. And then you were to experiment with thicker yarns at 12, or in my case, 13.5 ends per inch. So I have had a couple of yarns I wanted to try. One is a white cotton slub from Brassard. So I did that, and I alternated it with an 8-4 cotton from Brassard. I love this. It's so soft. You can see it's a lot bigger piece of fabric too, because I opened up the set and so it made it wider. So this is the exact same yarn that was on the loom. I just spread it out. And then I used the slub, which looks really cool and it's super soft. So I'm excited to try this as a towel now that I've shared it. I need to photograph it and then I can start using it as a towel. But still, I've got all these neat little patterns that I could replicate in a project if I wanted to, and I can see them here. And then I also had a boucle. Now the boucle, it's like I quickly, especially when you're, you know, using thicker yarns, you run out of warp more quickly. And so like I thought I had enough to do a towel, but I just ran out like lightning speed. So I couldn't even like repeat what I'd done here completely here before I ran out of warp. And this wasn't even like as far as I was hoping to get. I mean, I don't even know if this is like maybe 20 inches, 18, something like that. But The boucle feels nice too. It's not as soft as the slub, but you can see it's kind of bumpy and it's kind of cool. So I think I will like this too, but I haven't tried this yet either, obviously. And this is just kind of this misfit towel that, you know, you ran out of warp. So I've got a new warp that I'm going to be putting on the loom that's fall colors. By the time I'm done weaving it, it'll probably be Christmas or New Year's, but that's okay. I'll still enjoy doing the fall colors while I can. So I'm excited to get that started. I just need like some chunks of time to do that. Okay, that's all of the projects I have to share. So I'll share a couple things in my shop and a life update. Wanted to share a couple of patterns that I got into the shop that are really sweet. This is one from Artful Offerings. They've really been doing some, I mean, I've always liked their designs, but they've been doing some really nice ones lately. This is called Kind and Gentle Woodland Holiday Sampler. Super sweet. And then from Leela's Studio, I had to get this because, you know, I'm a knitter and I know some of you are knitters too. So I got this for the shop, and of course I'll have to have one. I need to stitch that one for sure. But yeah, super sweet. So I got those in too. So those are available in my shop. So what have I been up to? I'm trying to enjoy fall because I always feel like it passes me by. And so I've been making a very, very conscious effort this year to walk outside often, to notice the leaves, to do events that are fall themed. So we went to the University Arboretum one night when they were having a jack-o'-lantern display. They do this every year, and they give you pumpkins and you carve them and you bring them back for this display that they do. I went years ago, but the Arboretum has been expanding over the years, and so it was much smaller, and there was just like one area that had jack-o'-lanterns. But now when we went back, the children's garden was like all lit up at night, and it was just beautiful, and the jack-o'-lanterns were really well done. So it was really fun. That was a super fun night, and I'm really glad that I did go. And the moon was all nice and spooky and October-y, and you know, I liked it. Good atmosphere. I also took a really fun train ride. There's a historic railroad about an hour away from here that I happened upon this summer when I was going on vacation to North Carolina. And as we were driving by, we saw this old train going by, and I'm like, we got to find out about that. So we stopped at the convenience store that happened to be kind of across the street from there and asked them about it. So I've been kind of waiting for fall to go. Like, I kind of wanted to go this summer just because I was like super intrigued, but I thought fall would be the perfect time. It wouldn't be hot and it would be beautiful. So we went on like the perfect fall weekend. The weather was like in the 60s. The trees were like nearly peak, not quite peak. Beautiful. Fall is really pretty here often, and we were lucky that we had a really nice fall this year. So anyway, we went on like the most perfect day and had like the best time. It was an hour train ride. It's like 30 minutes out. And the train kind of does like a 3-point turn, and then you go back, so another 30 minutes back to the train station. And the car that we were in was actually not, they do a lot of restoration of old trains and train cars. This was actually one that they ordered to their specifications and had like a reproduction made. So it'd only been there maybe 6 weeks or something. We got to ride in it. It was very nice. Yeah, just really cool, really fun, really pleasant. I haven't been on a train probably since like 20 years ago, maybe. And of course, this is like an old train and a slow train. It was just kind of fun, like bumping along in the train, going slow. And scenery was so beautiful. There's like a really pretty bridge. There's cows in the pastures, and yeah, it was just an awesome time. I went with friends, so it was really fun. So those were good fall things. And so I've obviously sewing and doing some weaving and some stitching. I started working on next year's stitch along. I just put the first stitch in the other day, and I've had a lot of requests for Christmas. So yes, next year's stitch along will be a Christmas design. So I just started stitching that. So that's exciting. And I guess other than that, just if you don't know, I'm a college professor. I teach Spanish. That's been very, very busy. The semester was going along really well, and my students were doing great. And I don't know what happened, but suddenly it felt like it got really crazy. Lots of kids are getting sick and having other issues. So I hope that you're well and that you are doing a lot of stitching and other things that you enjoy. I've really been enjoying yoga. In addition, I mentioned that I started doing that, I think, back in May as like a self-care practice. I've kept up with it, much to my surprise. I've kept up with it, and I actually am doing yoga classes like 3 days a week now. Really enjoying it. It's been really good for me. And I'm not like I said, I didn't have high expectations I would keep up with it, but it's just been really, I've seen, I think as time goes on, not like immediately, like how beneficial it's been to my feelings of well-being and to my just like slowing down and noticing things and breathing. Some better balance and flexibility. Definitely some soreness. But it's been good. So yeah, I hope that you have other things that you're doing in addition to cross stitch that are filling you up. And thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope that it was an enjoyable video. I hope that you like the new Christmas designs. I'm excited about things that I'm releasing next year, and those kinds of things are in the works. So it's going to be a good 2023. I'll be back before then. Don't worry. I'm just thinking ahead. Not sure. I'll probably not be back until December, I'm guessing, but maybe around Thanksgiving. We'll see how it goes. But in the meantime, I wish you well, and I hope that you have a great month or so, and that you get lots of stitching and Flosstube watching time in. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.